Hi, I'm Anya.
And I'm Maddie.
And we're the Tweeks.
Twin Teen Geeks.
Riverdale, which is the new TV show on the CW based off of the Archie comics, and there are 2 episodes out. The Archie comics were some comics that came out in 1946, was actually the first one.
Really?
Yes, and if you want to know some more history in the Archie comics and what we think of it as longtime Archie fans,
then check out our episode that we did on the Archie comics.
A very long time ago. Oh my goodness.
And
maybe you shouldn't watch that.
There's so many different iterations of the Archie comics, and the one that they've chosen to do for Riverdale isn't really one that's been in the comics. The closest one would be the Zombieverse.
Riverdale is a film noir Archie TV show, and you can check out my interview with the cast when I interviewed them at Comic-Con. Riverdale is about all of the Archie kids: Betty, Veronica, Archie, Jughead, Moose, Reggie, to name a few, I guess.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Usually in the comics, it's all pretty go-lucky, happy, and the biggest thing that happens...
The phrase is happy-go-lucky, not go-lucky happy.
Same difference. Usually the biggest problem is someone steals a milkshake.
Or Reggie is being a jerk.
But
that's a usual occurrence.
On Riverdale, the TV show, it's a little more serious.
So in the very first episode, we find out what happened over the summer. The Blossom twins, Cheryl and Jason, went out boating on the Sweetwater River. Jason was killed.
Not to spoil too much, but as the episodes go on, we find out more clues and interesting things about...
people are lying. Ooh, what a surprise.
Yeah, what really did happen to Jason.
So Madeline Pesh, who plays Cheryl Blossom, is... she's so good.
I love her version of Cheryl Blossom. I've always loved Cheryl in the comics, and I loved her just as much in the TV show. I thought the casting for that was perfect. She looks like how I would think the real-life Cheryl would look, and she acts just like her.
I need girls with fire on my squad.
And I love it. Obviously, she's a little more intense than in the comics because, I mean, Cheryl's only problem in the comic, other than her being mean to everyone, was liking Archie. But in this one,
she has a lot more issues,
but there's some more issues.
I really like how they kept with Cheryl. Betty and Veronica have always wanted to date Archie, but they're fighting with each other a little bit. When Cheryl comes into the picture sometimes, they team up just to get her out of the way. And it's kind of like that in the show too. They're really like at odds with Cheryl a lot of the time.
The one thing I did notice though in the TV show was Jason and Cheryl in the comics. I mean, they were twins and they had the same friends and they were often seen at the same place.
But also, Jason was alive.
Yeah, and in the TV show, Jason is dead, but through flashbacks and previous parts, you see Jason a bunch, and they were quite creepy. Like, they were the kind of creepy twins to, like, hold hands and always be together. And they weren't like that in the comics, but at the same time, I feel like it just kind of, like, adds to the creepy vibe. Ew. Cheryl turns herself in front of the class and says that she's guilty when the sheriff comes in. And we don't really know what happens because it was at the very, very end of the episode. I guess we'll find out tonight. I did not suspect that at all.
I kind of did.
I thought she had something to do with it, but I didn't. Well, actually, we don't even know what she did. There wasn't a casting choice, and I was like, I don't know if that's gonna work. It all worked, and it was all awesome. So starting off with Archie Andrews,
where did they find this boy?
I know, he's like the perfect Archie. Archie, who is played by AJ Appa, is honestly amazing.
What I always remember with the comics is like over here on the side, he got the little like crisscross pound sign on his hair. I don't know how they managed to do it in real life. But that's what it looks like.
He's a splitting image. I don't really care if his hair is, it's more red than orange. Who cares? You know, this is like some realistic stuff going on. So I think Archie's great. Cole Sprouse, I think, is a really great choice. It wasn't kind of like an immediate thing for me, but I feel like he really, really works. And then I'm kind of biased, I guess, because I really, really like Cole Sprouse because I kind of just... I grew up with him. His, like, paper crown that he always wears in the comics. TV show, he wears a gray beanie with kind of, like, a crown,
like the folded edge of the beanie.
Yeah, and it makes it look like a kind of a crown. And I'm assuming at one point in the show, he'll put on the crown.
I hope so.
Like, I feel like that'll kind of be a thing. So now moving on to Betty.
Betty and Veronica. Where do they find these people? Yeah, they're like really young. I like that they're not having like 30-year-olds play Betty and Veronica.
Well, Betty is played by Lily Reinhart, and I think she's the perfect Betty. She acts it really well. She looks kind of like how I would picture Betty. Now, moving on quickly to Veronica.
Camila Mendes, the love of my life.
So
she's so perfect.
Yeah, Camila Mendes does an amazing Veronica, and I feel like her and Lily really, really play off of each other, and they work the way that Betty and Veronica should. And I know when they were casting that they really had to think about it, probably because if Betty and Veronica don't seem believable, like it's not going to work because it's all about Betty and Veronica.
They need to be best friends. They need to have that dynamic, and they nail it so perfectly. And they need to have that dynamic when they're around Archie, and they do that too. And they have like
the competition, but also uteruses before deuteruses. That's from Parks and Recreation.
Yes, Sonia, we know. Miss Grundy.
Okay, so in the comics, Miss Grundy is
like
just
this old hag,
really nice and like wise, but like she was kind of
she was like the
rude
generic teacher.
Yeah, like if they needed a
she
teacher,
would always report them to Weatherby.
Like she was like friends with everyone's parents, so she was always telling on them. She was their English teacher, their math teacher, their like history teacher, and their music teacher. So on Riverdale, Miss Grundy is this young music teacher. I don't like what happens, but basically Archie and Miss Grundy are
involved,
and they have an affair over the summer, which I don't like, and I feel like that really ruins it because it's supposed to be about Betty and Veronica. And in the show, when Betty like asks him out, but then he also kisses Veronica, his thought should be, is it Betty or Veronica? Betty, because that's how it is if you're going off the comics.
It's not Betty.
He says no to Veronica, and he also says no to Betty because he's focused on Miss Grundy.
I really think this was honestly like unnecessary.
I'll give you Josie and the Pussycats.
Pussycat. I like him. So there's Josie, obviously, because it's Josie and the Pussycats, Valerie and Melody. And in the comics, Valerie is the only African American character in the Pussycats. But in the TV show, I really liked it because all of the Pussycats are African American.
They're really like vibing.
Yes, they're really cool, and they sing a little bit.
The Josie is a really good singer.
And I like them a lot, and I think it adds a little bit of diversity considering that the Archie comics
were predominantly white.
Yeah, especially the earlier original stuff. So I agree that when you're making a show in 2017 based off of a storyline with characters from 1946, it's been over
plus 46,
46, 54.
54 plus 17 is
60.
not 80.
Oh, this isn't 2017. So 70 years. You gotta add some diversity.
And they did pretty good with that.
They did.
Pop and Weatherby are both African American. The mayor, she is also a woman.
Heck yes. More diversity. Okay, so Reggie, who everyone hates, but like you kind of love him because he's Reggie and he's like funny and stuff. He is Asian.
What do you mean you kind of love him because he's Reggie?
I think Reggie's like funny. Like he's like a character I enjoy. I don't like him as a person, or you love to hate him. So let's talk about Moose. So in the comics, Moose is
dating Midge, his girlfriend.
But we haven't met Midge yet. But I love Midge.
Midge has been spoken of.
Midge is one of my favorite characters. However, poor Midge. So Moose in the comics is just some jock guy, not very smart. But in this, he is trying to figure out his sexuality. He's involved with Kevin, who is also gay, but openly gay. Speaking of gay. So in the first episode, Betty and Veronica share a kiss, which is apparently only for the pizzazz Cheryl wants in the cheerleading tryouts.
Mm-hmm. Check your sell-by date, ladies. Faux lesbian kissing hasn't been taboo since 1994.
However, and I was told that there would be multiple Betty and Veronica kisses.
Looking forward.
Okay, so Pops. Pop is the best. Towards the end of the second episode, Betty and Veronica and Archie all get shakes at Pops, and Jughead later joins them, and it's really, really sweet to see the four of them all sitting in a booth at Pops, and it's very nice to see it come
together
to life.
It makes my heart so happy to see Archie on TV, you know?
To top it all off in the TV show, because Veronica, the reason she comes from New York to Riverdale on the show is because her dad was arrested for embezzlement, so her and her mom moved back to Riverdale. We find out in the show that her mom and Archie's dad were dated in high school. Veronica's mom is played by Marisol Nichols. She plays one of my favorite characters on GCB, which was a show that only had one season when it should have had like a bajillion good Christian bells,
also known as Good Christian Bitches.
It had Kristen Chenoweth in it, so that's a really good show, and I suggest you watch it. And it's on Hulu. Right, because Veronica's mom couldn't get a job anywhere else, she actually is now a waitress at Pops. So that's really cool, and I'm looking forward to see like what happens.
Betty's mom sucks. I hate her so much. She's the literal worst. Betty has a sister, Polly Cooper, and we don't really know exactly what happened with Polly. She had a breakdown, and
After she dated Jason Blossom,
and now Polly lives in a group home.
but really it was her own mom's fault.
And her mom also hates Veronica because she thinks Veronica is like Cheryl.
And also now does not like Archie. I really thought Riverdale was awesome. I loved it. And I have friends who don't like the Archie comics, never heard of them before, watched it, loved it. I have friends who love the Archie comics, watch it, love it. I have a friend who doesn't like the Archie comics, but when I promised her that Cole Sprouse was indeed playing Jughead, told me that she would watch it reluctantly, but then ended up liking it. Paige.
I really want to see Midge.
I'd like some Archie and Valerie stuff to happen. Make sure to watch Riverdale on Thursdays on the CW. It's an awesome show. So that is all for now.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, Periscope, add us on Snapchat, like us on Facebook.
Subscribe to us on YouTube.
And check back every Thursday on ComicMix.com for new videos.
Bye!